Hello, hello. Welcome to today's live stream. I am Angela, the artist behind Clark Fine Art. And if you have not been here before, we are going to chat. We're actually going to do some artwork this time that I created earlier today. I will share that with you in a moment. But it is available. The line art is available. The link is in the description below. It's over on my Patreon. So if you would like to grab the line art, you can jump over there, get that, and you can print it out. You could just color it with colored pencils, or you could transfer it to some watercolor paper or to a canvas and paint it any way you wish. But I did create that for you today. So I'm just going to wait and make sure that we are good to go, and then we'll get started. Hopefully we are live. I do not see anything coming back to me yet, but we will continue and we will see. I'm sure you'll start yelling at me if something's not right. Okay, so today, this is the drawing that I created of the witch's hat. I don't think, yeah, I just hold it up that way. So we've got some leaves, some oak leaves in there, and some maple leaves, and my mind just completely drew a blank. Audio is live, video is live. Good. Hello, Tara. Okay. Nightshade. There it is. I knew it would come to me, but just gave it a second. Nightshade. Sorry, I missed the enter button and didn't notice. I was just waiting for you to tell me that we were good to go. Oh. Hello, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so today, can you guys see everything on the desk okay? Because I had to turn off my studio light, which I have no idea how that is going to work as I start losing the excuse me, the daylight outside my window. So just let me know if you guys can see this on the desk okay. I can turn on another light, but it really washes it out. At least on my screen, it really washes it out. So I just want to be sure that you can see what we're doing. So today I'm going to be using from my art haul. I figured I would try the Pagos watercolor set. Excuse me. Hello, Marty. Thanks for joining us. The yes. Sorry, guys. As I'm rushing around trying to get everything just before, because it never fails. It's a little light, but you can see it. Okay, good. Well, but you can see it. My problem was that you weren't going to be able to see it. It was going to make it too dark. Or you can see it when I turn light on. Okay. Tara says I can see everything just fine. Great. All right. So, I promise it will settle down in a minute. I thought I had everything squared away. Then I thought I was going to have to restart my whole computer because it was giving me a problem. It was just live stream day. Something's going to happen. It's inevitable. We roll with it. So today we're going to use the Pagos watercolor set. I shared this with you in my art haul video. Sorry, didn't mean to yell at you guys there as I lean towards the microphone. And I'm also going to use this Canson XL watercolor paper. And the reason I chose this watercolor paper is because the Pagos watercolor paint set is a very affordable option. So if you're just wanting to explore the world of watercolor and you don't want to spend a fortune on, say, Daniel Smith watercolor paints, which of course are my favorites, or even other sets like maybe a Winsor Newton Cotman set, which is still going to be more expensive than the Pagos. Based on my own stuff, I would say if the light was on, it would be harder to see. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So I thought if I'm doing kind of a budget paint set, like a good starter set, I would also grab a paper that won't be overly expensive for you guys if you didn't have watercolor paper. Now, Canson is the Canson XL is a cold press. It is a yep. Did you see it? Did you see the words just run away that time? That was crazy. Cellulose. It's cellulose paper. So it is wood pulp product. This is not 100% cotton by any means, but it is 140 pound. It is 300 GSM. And it's not that bad. It's not that bad of a paper. It's got a good texture to it, like you would expect from a cold press paper. Do you guys use this? Have any of you tried this paper? What do you think? I don't know. I like to use it a lot, like when I'm practicing something. Or just trying to like see my colors. Sometimes, I'll definitely like to swatch on, the paper that I'm going to be using so I can see how those colors will react on that paper, which I will swatch these today on the Canson. But let me just open this up so you can see. If you missed the art haul video, of course, after this is done, I will make sure that I link to that up here. But if you missed that, in this package, you're going to actually get a thing of 12 sheets. And I didn't use this paper today just because, one, I hadn't opened it, and two, I wanted to do the project today on a larger piece of paper, which is why I chose the Canson. But it does come with 12 sheets. This is A5 size, and it is a 300 GSM watercolor paper. So you're going to get that. Just getting this set alone, like you have everything you will need to get started and just do a few projects with watercolor. You also get the Pagos. This is a white gel pen. So we may use this at the end for some highlights on the nightshade berries that are on the witch's hat. You do get a Pagos water brush. I don't know why I'm saying Pagos. It's a Pagos set. Of course, they're by Pagos. But anyhow, I did fill this with water ahead of time because I do want to try that out today. It comes with a sponge. And you'll take this and you'll see you wipe that water brush off on that sponge to clean it. So that's what that is for. I'm not touching that eraser. If you saw the video, you know I don't like the feel of that eraser. It does come with a pencil sharpener. And then it comes with this dual brush pen. It is a fine nib on this end, very fine nib. So I think I'm gonna use this to do the spider web that's in the hat. And then it also has the brush tip there. Let's see. Melissa says, I use it a lot, especially if how something will turn out. I save my expensive paper for important projects. Okay, talking about the Canson paper, yes. Okay, so in addition to that, you have your watercolors, and I'm just going to set this paper back because we're not using this paper today, so I'm going to set that back in here. And there is a number 14, as I'm running out of places to put things. So you have a number 14, like an oval wash. I do like the point on this. And these brushes, if you missed that art haul video, these brushes are actually the reason why I grabbed this set. Lindsay over at The Frugal Crafter, if you're not familiar with her channel, definitely check her out. She is excellent. She recommended this and because of these brushes, and I really liked what I saw. So we're going to see if I actually like them today. So then you have a size 12 flat. Number 6 round, and a number 1 round. So I thought those were great sizes for watercolor, especially like in today's project. I won't need any more brushes than that. And then, of course, there is a 2B sketching pencil. So, I'm going to put this in here and get rid of this box. I will take my brushes and just kind of stick them over here on my... this is another reason I love this paint puck. You guys have heard me talk about this thing before. It is my absolute favorite. I highly recommend it. I did not put a link in the description yet, but I will as soon as we are done. So you see, it'll hold my brushes just like that. And then when I'm not using them and they're wet, you know, the water is coming out of them the correct way and not getting up into the ferrules. Okay. So here is, and I did cut a piece of the Canson so that I could swatch out these colors. I'm just going to open this up. See if you can see that there. So there are the 36 colors that you get. Again, trying to make room on this desk where everything is crazy and try to keep it where you can see it. Okay. So I'm going to start just by just taking water, and I'm just going to mist those watercolors just to start activating them. I have no idea which ones I'm going to actually use today, but I do know that I want to swatch them out. So we'll go ahead and just let those start getting activated. While that's happening, I'm going to show you the artwork we're going to do. Okay, let me just check up on this real quick. Oh, Steven said, I have some cheaper paper by Clairefontaine. It's only 200 GSM, but it contains some cotton. I need to practice more. Yeah, see, I have a paper, I can't remember who it's by. It might even be, is it Clairefontaine? It might be. That's part cellulose, part, you know, it's just part cotton. It's not 100% cotton. I haven't tried that paper yet either. I need to. The drawing is excellent. You did that this morning. Yeah. So those of you who were actually over in were we? I don't know if we were talking about Lisa's chat. Anyways, I was talking to Joseph about it. I'm sure. I was considering doing this project today. And I am going to still have this available for you guys. I just haven't edited. I did record it when I painted this. This was acrylic. I recorded it. And is that showing up? Kind of, those lights just bounce all over that. So anyhow, will it show up better here? How about that way? Okay, every time you do this, you're like mirror imaging yourself, so it's hard to, I don't know, but I think you get the idea. So anyhow, I was considering doing that today. And then I changed my mind. I decided, you know what? I'm going to do this as a bonus video for you guys. I just wasn't sure I could get that done in 2 hours with keeping up with the chat and everything else. And I'm still hoping I can get this done within 2 hours, because here we are 15 minutes in and we're not putting paint on anything yet. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise. I appreciate all of your patience with me as I get used to actually doing live streams. So thank you. But yeah. So then this morning I said, you know what, I think I'm going to do a different project. And if you've followed me on social media, you saw that I did, I shared a picture of a Halloween card. And that had pumpkins. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll do another version of the 3 pumpkins. So, of course, I sketched that out. And I was like, no, I already painted that. I might fill this in before the weekend's out and just have some fun with it again. And of course, you see my 3 pumpkins also made an appearance down here in this painting. And they had like the little moon glowing off the tops of them. But I was just tired of painting pumpkins. So this morning I was thinking, what else could I do? And jumped on and started searching. I was like, well, what about a witch's hat? And this is actually was inspired by a hat one of my family members was supposed to be getting for Halloween to dress up this year. And I was like, I loved the look of the hat. So I said, you know what? I'm going to draw a hat that's kind of based off of that hat. And so that was this right here. So yeah, I drew that this morning. Oh, thanks, Stephen. And thank you, Tara. It's a beautiful drawing. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. Again, it's available if you want to grab the line art. So what I did was I created from this. I created this line art that is, of course, a little bit lighter, but you can download this for free. It is available over on my Patreon, and that link is in the description below. If Joseph hasn't dropped it in the chat, it is in the description below. So if you want to grab this, you can. And I was hoping that if some people did want to grab it, if you saw my posting about the live coming up, I did mention it, that this would kind of give you time to get it printed out, whatever. So then once that's printed out, keep kind of moving stuff off my desk here. You can just take that, and what I did was I took my piece of, because I wasn't going to paint it on my original. I wanted it to be just a little bit bigger so that it would hopefully be easier for you guys to see working on my desk. So then I took a piece of the Canson, and I just took a piece of transfer paper, which I've used this one. I don't know if you can see it, but I've used this one many times. Don't get rid of your transfer paper, because use that over and over and over again. The more you use it, the better it gets, because your lines will start getting lighter and lighter, especially if you're going to do watercolor, and it won't show through so much. So always hold on to those and reuse them. So I just took that, and the printout you saw, it'll print out nice and light for you, which I did on purpose because I wanted to come in with my pencil and go over all my lines. And when I did that, I could easily see where I had already drawn. So that's why I did that. And then we go, thank you, Joseph. There it is for you guys. If you want to grab this line art, and even if you want to grab it later and just jump ahead to this point in the video and paint along, or just print it and do it on your own. But if you do, please tag me. If you're on MeWe, tag me. You can drop me a comment on my Clark Fine Art page over there on MeWe. And you can definitely, I just did a project that I ruined on my 300-pound arch. Oh my gosh. That would be sad. That would make me sad too, Melissa. Thank you. The hat is too cute. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, but that is available to you guys. And if you do it, like, you could do it whatever you choose. You could do that in colored pencil. You could do it in pastels. I'm going to do it in watercolor. Well, I'm going to try to do it in watercolor and just have fun with it. Really? I mean, just have fun with it. All right. So, no, I don't want that one. I'm going to take the number 6, and I just want to see, okay, hopefully I'm not going to shake you guys all over the place. All right. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to swatch these colors real quick so that I can see, and you can see, what they're going to look like. So there's 36 colors. It did not tell me, that was one thing I didn't care for, that it did not tell me. It didn't list like the names of the colors on this set. So yeah, it's just kind of wing it. So we got a black. We have a gray. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. Usually I like wet the paper. And hopefully I kept those away from each other so they don't bleed into each other. And then I'll just kind of drop that color in so that I can see how it transitions. Oh, Steven, I have another one on my wish list. I'm like, get me the same size I have, which I like. I do like this size, so let me just kind of go there. Oh my gosh. One of the little my studio, my window looks out to the front of my house. I can see one of the neighborhood kids. We actually decorated outside. Oh, look at that, just oh, I hope this is going to be one of those types of watercolors that just wants to explode when you put it down. But anyhow, we decorated for Halloween and I can see him. This is not the first day he's been here. Every day about this time in the afternoon, he comes up and just kind of stares at the front of the house and all the stuff that's outside. Okay. I try to do these quickly. I really want to get, oh, now some of the colors just, they hit and go. That's what I was hoping for the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I was like trying to see my brush and you see, I don't know if you guys can pick up on that, especially when I just did it on that yellow one. They almost look a little chalky. But, again, they're budget watercolors, so I do like that gray. So he has some decent green. There's like a few greens in here. If I can remember what I've touched. I had wanted to do this ahead of time, but things were crazy today. I like that green. That's a bright green, really bright green. And I would probably get 2 more after this. I got a big spot of water I'm trying to avoid because then my colors are going to bleed all together. Normally I'll make the squares and, my swatches are all neat and tidy. Not today, folks. Not today. Those 2 colors are almost the same. I didn't just redo the same color, did I? And I really did not invite you all here to watch a swatching. I'm sorry. Thank you, Joseph. That might help, huh? At least I was keeping up with the chat this time. Yeah, those colors are almost exactly the same. Did they? I don't know if they made a mistake in my set, but those are pretty much identical. Now, I'm going to have to I'll have to contact Pagos and find out because They look pretty identical. And again, there were no colors listed there. Unless there were, and I pulled that page out. I don't know. I don't know. They're just going to blend together now. I couldn't help myself. And again, this is just so when I do that hat, I'm not being super great with my swatch. I just want to make sure that as I'm doing the hat, when I want to look at the you know, choosing a color, I can look real quick and know which one I want to grab. It's a really yellow green. Starving said, oh my God, I slept in. Hello, Starving. Steven said it could be a duplicate if it's ultramarine. Yeah, I don't know. And that's the thing. It doesn't tell you. That is one thing I can say that I don't particularly care for. Is I'll have to get a hold of Lindsay and ask her if she had the names of the colors and if she had the same thing like that. Because I know she covered this set. So I'll have to get in touch with her. Ooh, that's like a, looks like a nice, almost like a cerulean blue. And then again, those two look almost identical. So that's two colors so far that look almost identical. Those really look identical. So is it 36 colors or is it 34 with two repeaters? I don't know. So I'm thinking on that hat, I should have grabbed a picture of that so I could have left it up on the screen for you guys. It's been a day. It has been a day. But I'm thinking on the hat, maybe purple, which I'm getting ready to do purples. So I'm excited to see what we got here. I'm thinking maybe a purplish color for the hat. So that like the green, you know, the green of the leaves and the oranges of like the maple leaf will really pop and show up on that. And like the nightshade berries, those are red. So I'm really thinking that I'm going to do the hat in a purple. And that was interesting. I'm not sure if you guys, that's like slid off so you would not be able to. It's off the camera just a little bit. But from spraying it, it's almost like some of the pigment came to the surface. This one looks really chalky, this purple. This probably got a lot of white in it. So from spraying it, it was like some of the pigment had raised up. I can see it also in this pink one when I misted it with the water bottle. And when you go over it, of course, it looks so much lighter. So I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, fillers or stuff in these. Steven said I use cerulean blue for skies. It just depends. For me, it depends on the sky. What time of day it's supposed to be. I am still that commission that I started last week. Ugh. Don't even get me started. That is not done yet. Hello, Naomi. Thank you for stopping by. So that commission is not done yet. That sky, it's going to be done this weekend. One way or another, it's getting done this weekend. I want it out of this studio and on its way to its forever home. Now I'm making this too big. I'm going to run out of room. That's a bright red. It's like dark in the palette, but it's a nice red. There's a very warm red. Almost like a cad red. Whereas this looks more like a rose or and right now I'm just doing these wet on dry, so I know I'm not getting these swatches the best. Again, I just want to get through them as quick as I can so that I can get onto the hat, and I just need a reference so that I know what colors to pick. I'll probably go back and make the nice little fancy swatch that will, you know, stay in here with these forever. Have any of you ever used these watercolors before? If you're just joining us, these are the Pagos Watercolors. Okay, I don't remember if I grabbed the right one or not, so I'm going to do that again. Ah, the inability to multitask. Okay, I'm not sure if you asked that just before I said it, Naomi, but these are the Pagos. It is the Pagos paint set. Is this guy right here. It is 30. It's got the 36 colors. These brushes also came. The brushes that I'm using today also came in this set. The artwork that we are going to be doing in just a minute. Ooh, that is a nice. I like that. I like that color. See, in my studio, it's starting to get a lot darker. So I may have to turn up the other light. If it starts to get dark for you guys, because I am in Maine, here in the United States, and although it is still plenty bright out, although within another 2 months, it won't be at this hour. It'll be, what time is it? Yeah, it'll be dark. Like sun's already gone down dark at this hour. In about another, well, when we hit the winter solstice around the 21st of December, it'll be dark in here this time. So I don't know if that starts to get too dark, please let me know. And the link to these paints are in the description below. All right. And we have one more yellow, and then of course our white. And I'm going over here to my clean water on the other side, just because I'm going to grab that white and I don't want to get it all nasty. Now, when I do the white, and this also is going to let me test this pen. I want to know when I put that down, is it going to move? So this pen, this dual brush pen came in the set with these watercolors. Is it waterproof? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Just giving it a minute to let it actually dry on the paper. And this will let me see how opaque the white is when I go over it also. So, all right. So that right there is not waterproof. I'm going to put the white in a different spot and I'll let that dry. And I will try to remember to come back to it later and test that out. Actually, I have a micron pen right here. I will let that dry for a minute. And then I'll go over it and see. So while I'm waiting for that ink to dry, and I know I had a thought process and I lost it before, but these brushes come in the set. So everything that I'm using today came in this set. And if it didn't, I will try to remember to tell you that it didn't. Like the Canson XL paper that I'm using, that did not come in the set. So I think for the hat, and I'll just keep this one on top, my actual piece I'm going to be working on is right there. I want to do the hat itself in like a purple, and I might be able to mix it. I was thinking like a really like a reddish purple, almost like that, an aubergine type color. And then so that it would be like a nice warm purple. And hopefully that would cause my you know, my maple leaf and my oak leaves and stuff that are in here to really pop. And these lines, if anybody prints this out, I will say these lines were a little, I was like, ooh, is everybody going to be able to follow that? As I went through, like this top line comes over and then it drops down, cuts through and comes back up and ends up in the middle. The second one comes across, goes over top of the mushroom, comes down, over, and then up, ends up top. Then the third one, you can't really see a lot of that one over here, but that comes underneath all this stuff over one of the nightshade vines, loops up around, back down, and it comes over here and is at the bottom. So you'll see on the right side, there's only 3. On the left side, though, we have 4, because the last one, as it wraps around, it is just that nightshade wrapping around again. And as it comes on this side, underneath, loops over, and it terminates right here where the berries are. So we've got some nightshade berries. And these I went and looked, because I have these actually growing all over the place at my house. So they have a very distinct leaf. Some of their leaves are, you know, just that regular, you know, some of them are just like that shape, but then others have this very distinct 3-leaf pattern on the one leaf. So anyhow, I threw some of those in there, an acorn, a mushroom. This was actually from a picture that I took when I was on vacation for a week, just a few weeks back. So yeah, so these kind of things came from my own references. And then the hat again was based off of a hat that a family member was going to be wearing to dress up for Halloween. I just added my own things. It had a little spider web there, which I thought was great, so I kept that in. But then all of this stuff is my own. So it's based on that, but a lot of my own reference photos. All right, I'm going to check in with the chat. This should be dry. I will put that white over and we will get into the hat. And what I will do is I will go back after the video is over. I'll go, yeah, see, that's that micron pen, which I suspected would not. Yeah, that is definitely not. That dual brush pen is water based. So definitely a water-based pen. You can see that there. And I'll let this dry so we can see just how opaque that white is. So I will come back to this card to show you. So that's the pen that came in the set. This black mark I made with one of my my Pigma micron pens. So I knew that wouldn't bleed. So I'll come back and look at that after it's dried and we'll see just how transparent or non-transparent that white is. All right. So I have no idea how this palette's going to be. Hopefully everything doesn't bead up like crazy. Sorry, guys. And then we will get right into it. Nightshade. Oh, yes. Gypsy. Hi, Gypsy Heart. I just realized that you were here. Hello, Gypsy Heart. I have got, she said, ooh, nightshade. Yes, I have got nightshade, grows all around. In fact, there's one side of my deck and there's lattice, and every year it just comes right up all around the lattice, spills up over the top. And in fall, we have gorgeous red berries. Now, of course, if you're not familiar with nightshade, nightshade is a very poisonous plant. We don't eat those berries. Melissa said, ooh, I want nightshade growing at my house. Oh, it grows crazy. I have it all over here. All right, let me get back so I can check what's going on in chat. Starving got all the cats fed. Oh, I hope they're feeling better soon, Gypsy Heart. Thank you, Naomi. And that is, again, that is available for you to download. You can jump over to my Patreon and you can get the printout. Is a PDF format for you. And I made sure that it would be, you know, the standard 8.5 by 11. So you could just print it on regular printer paper. Excuse me. So you could just print it on regular printer paper and then transfer it to whatever you'd like to go ahead and do that. So you are free to use that for your own use, not for resale or anything like that, but for your own use and your own fun. Absolutely. Gypsy Heart said, I'm about to barricade myself in my studio. I'm the last one in the house who hasn't gotten sick yet. Yes, knock on wood. I'll knock on wood for you. My lip. Like my lips all of a sudden started feeling dry. Now they're gonna wanna bite at them while we're live. Sorry, I will try not to do that. That's disgusting. As I do it again. Okay. All right. So, Gypsy Heart says, always get so confused every single time on waterproof, water resistant, etc. So I ended up testing all my pens and having a single container for watercolor safe pens. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. Hey, Jared. Well, if you're still here, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying hi. When's that second book coming? I need something else to read, so no pressure, but you know, let's get going. Okay, so let's get into it. So what I will do is at the end, I'll go back and, of course, if you've watched this far, it's kind of useless anyway, huh? But I'm going to go back and I'll add chapters. So if you decide you want to paint this later and you want to come back and, you know, have me rambling on in the background, I'll put a chapter so that you can get right here where we're doing this. So let's get to the desk. And what I'm going to do, I want to kind of put those where I'll move this water. That might work better. Okay. You guys see that palette now? Hopefully that's going to be better. Although something's got to give because I got to be able to show you the artwork too. Move these out of the way. All right. So where I'm going to start, and what I'll do is I'm just going to go in. Jared said, getting back to writing. Awesome. I can't wait to read the second book. If you guys aren't familiar, Jared Smith wrote a book. We've talked about it over in Melissa's chat. It is Chaos Reigns, Oath Broken. It is available on it's available on Audible. It's available through Amazon. Definitely check it out. It is wonderful. Oh, he's homesick today. Oh, you're not feeling good either, huh? You and the kids. Well, and for anybody who doesn't know, Jared is Gypsy Heart's husband. So, okay, guys, what I'm going to do now that I'm caught up, Chad is caught up, I'm going to work on painting the hat. I'm not going to look at chat. Once I get this squared away, and I have to wait for it to dry for a little bit, then I'll go back and I will double check all of the chat again. So I will hopefully be able to see if, you know, if something's going on. And Joseph, you tell me something, I'll pay attention for that. But I'm just going to try not to read the chat. I want to be able to come in, get this all in here. So without my light on in my studio, it makes it very hard. I'm going to turn that up. Let me know if it gets worse. Hopefully once I start putting the color in, you'll be able to see it better. Okay. I know that just washed that out. Hi, Jamie. I just need to be able to see and make sure where my water is. Because I really want to do this hat wet on wet. I think that will, I think that will work well with just, oh, don't drip your brush on your painting, guys. I'll go there last. It's okay. I'm not mad. Probably should have mixed up my color first. That probably would have been great. Yes, Gypsy Heart, I am using the Pagos today. Actually, that okay. That might be a little better. Now you guys can actually see. Is that better? Let me know. Okay, so I'm getting a bristle right there. Not thrilled about that. I can't stand when brushes shed bristles. And hopefully that will be the only one. I'm also hoping that my paper doesn't dry out too quickly. Some of these are so intricate, like getting around my design up there. I'm just trying to cover the largest areas with this brush, and I'm going to grab the number 6. Right now I'm using the number 14 oval wash. And it doesn't say what they are, just I'm saying, going on what the shape looked like. Kind of looks like a cat's tongue, or like a type of filbert. That guy right there. And hopefully, yeah, sticking, I am, aren't I? Yep, put my head right in your way. And what I'll do is I'll come back in. I'm just coming up to the edge of these. I'll come back in with some of the color and really fill in like the little parts in the centers with just a really nice dark version. of the hat color, and hopefully I'm not sticking. I'm trying to see where it's where my paper's glistening and where it's not. Always check your ferrules. That was a big old water drop there. Jamie, I'm using the, I just happened to look up when your question popped on my screen. I am using the Pagos 36 paint set. These are Pagos Watercolors. It was one of the sets from my art haul that I shared in my art haul video, and I just wanted to get a chance to use those. So I thought we would just paint this fun little witch's hat and see what happens. Okay. So I'm sure I'm going to mix this paint up now, and then that paper will be wet, but you know, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. So I'm just going to mix my paint up with my bigger brush, and I really wanted set a nice warm purple. Oh, did you see that? So for those of you who get, and one of the reasons, and I mentioned this in my art haul video, the set is very, very affordable. I mean, for what you paid, if I hated these watercolors, but I liked the brushes and I liked the palette, even if that was the only things I liked, it's worth it. It was worth the price. And you see there, like that, I have my medium palette that my Daniel Smith paints are in. The medium palette that my Daniel Smith paints are in. That one drives me crazy. The colors bead, I need to move this. I'm going to end up dropping it on my, the colors bead up like mad on that. But that is the first time I've ever put anything on here, and it did not, it's not beating up. It is just pooling nicely. I like it. And I just want a nice deep purple. And I know I just made that really red. And I don't know if you guys saw, you know, I see people all the time, and they're like, oh, they'll just grab right back into their purple. And no, I have to rinse my brush. I can mix them in here all day long, but once I go from one, like if I was going back to the red, I couldn't do that. I gotta clean it. And I know I could just like wipe the tops of them off, it'd be fine, but okay. So that was mixing some of that red right there and those purples. And I'm just going to desaturate it just a tiny bit. I just want to deepen that up just a little bit. There we go. I really wanted a nice dark purple. And if that's an indicator, that might be it. I just wanted something that looks very earthy. I don't know. I'm picturing it. It's an earth witch that wears this little hat. All right. So I'm just gonna, yeah, we're gonna go with that. So first I'm just gonna kind of come in with a nice light wash, the lighter color, and then I'm gonna try to drop in and let that just kind of spread around for my shadows. And this paper, that's one thing, I don't know if it's my studio, if it's this paper. Those of you who maybe have used this paper, maybe you can tell me if you've had this problem. But man, it just sucks up that water and it dries so fast. So getting those nice wet washes sometimes can be difficult. And I see that the chat is like moving like crazy. And I will pause because I'm going to have to wait for this to dry before I go into my leaves. So I am going to pause and get caught up here in a moment, but I just want to really get the color laid in on this hat. I kind of wish I had a brush that was in between this number 6 and then this giant 14 oval. Like right now I would be grabbing probably, I don't know. I would be grabbing a bigger brush than this that has a nice sharp point on it. See, this is already wanting to dry. This is not going to stay. This is not going to want to stay consistent. And I'm just going to try to get a lot more water as I not checking my ferrule. I'm trying to go quickly and I shouldn't. I should just slow down. And I have not taped this paper. I wasn't worried about it too much. If I was doing I am so tempted to grab one of my other brushes for this background. I think that this brush, especially like the way that it feels, the snap that it has, I like that. But I think, again, it's the larger round brush. That's the one I'm grab most, like a size 12 round. I grab that for that all the time. All right, now let's see if we can get this to. Yeah, I'm trying really hard not to go grab a different brush. So I started to say, I didn't tape this paper off. I know that this paper does buckle a lot. I didn't tape it down because I knew that it was, I wasn't doing a huge wash over a large portion of the paper. It has buckled some, which may hinder me. Now I'm just going to drop in a little dark here and there where I know I'm going to want a few shadows to pop it. All right, I feel like Feel like Joseph here. I just realized you're not talking, you're focusing. And I really should have. I should have taped this off and so that it would have stayed. It would have stayed flat. And I didn't. Normally I would I would soak my paper ahead of time and stretch it and all the things. However, I really didn't want I didn't want my paper to be, I didn't want this part in here to be wet ahead of time. And then I was going to tape it down. And one of the things, here's something I will share. One of the things that I tend to do is when I finish a pad of like, watercolor paper, I will save it, and I'll save the chipboard that is on the back of the pad, the hard back. I'll save that so that in the future, when I am doing projects, I'll use that to, if I cut down smaller sheets or whatever, I'll actually use that to attach my paper to, if that makes sense. This paper dries so fast, and it does. It frustrates the heck out of me because I know it's going to make my washes be more uneven. And if I don't want that line to show through, I'm going to have to really darken that paint up there, but I think also all of a sudden I couldn't see my own drawing. Trying to follow the outlines of this design and paint all that negative space around it. I think that once you have this down, even with the watercolor, and I may do that after, come back over it and use colored pencil. And I may, to make this really pop a lot more, come back in with my colored pencils. And I'm just coming around the brim of the hat because I'm touching the dry part of the paper and I'm leaving much more pigment there. And where it's still wet, it'll kind of fade. It'll just kind of blend up into it. And I never mix enough paint. Do you guys do that? I never mix enough paint. I'm always like, oh, that'll be way more paint than I need. Yeah, it's not. And then you mix like the perfect color. And then, of course, you can't get it back because, well, you can get it back. You're just going to keep playing with it. So first impression, I love the palette because it definitely, I love that there was no beading. It just, those colors just sat right in there. My other palette, my Meeden palette, I need to go into that one with like a magic eraser and just kind of go over that palette because it is definitely, it just beads, everything beads up on it. And that's the one my Daniel Smith paints are in. I use it all the time. I've used it, it's been well over a year and it's not getting any better. So next time that it's actually clean, I'm going to go through and right now I just came back with some water because it was a little too hard. So I just came back with a damp brush and just kind of soften that edge so it'll disperse. I just want it to kind of spread out a little bit more. And this is just like those areas where the fabric has folds would cause some shadowing. So in a moment, I will pause and check the questions. I have a feeling that that is gonna bloom and leave a nasty little mess. And okay, how many of you do that? I do that all the time. I just put my hand right in that part of the painting where there was wet paint. And then I'll, you know, set it down somewhere else. Yeah, I did. I touched that with water and it's just going to cause a bloom. It was in that stop touching it phase and I didn't stop touching it. It's just going to make it worse. I'm just leaving it. I will come back and deal with that. So I'm going to let that set for a minute. We will check questions or check the chat and then we'll come back and I will do the leaves or start on the center part. Okay. I wish my chat wouldn't have scrolled because then I could have really seen what was going on. Okay, let's see. Gypsy Heart said, ooh, you're using the Pagos set today. And I will, how about we talk while that dries? You're using the Pagos set today. I've been curious how they work. I need to go watch Lindsay's video review. Yes. Much better comprehensive review on these watercolors. I absolutely, and when, you know what, I will, when this is done, I'll go back and I will link that in the chat. I'll find Lindsay's video because she did an amazing job covering these watercolors. And yeah, I definitely recommend that video. That was Jamie. I said hello when you came in. Okay, in true starving fashion. Now we can say all the mean things until she looks up again. Yes, you can, but now I'm going to find out what you said. Okay, Joseph. Hey, wait. Okay, I'll allow it. All the mean things. Thanks, Gypsy Heart. Oh my goodness. Okay, Jamie, I did answer that question for what color we were using the Pagos watercolors. Oh, Gypsy Heart asked, That set came with paper too, didn't it? If I recall correctly, yes, it did. I'm not using that paper today because I wanted to work on a larger surface than that paper was. And it probably would have been better to work on that paper because then I wouldn't be dealing with the nasty bloom that you can't see right now, but it's happening. Oh, it's happening. Yeah, I'm using the Canson XL. I'm using the the Canson XL Watercolor paper. That's what I'm using right now. It is in the description. I haven't linked to it yet, but it will be. I will link to it, but I did list it in the description. I was having some serious computer gremlins just before we were going to go live. Naomi said, that paper dries so fast because it's not 100% cotton. The water sits on top where the cotton paper soaks it up and keeps the paper wet for longer. Yeah, I was going to grab a piece of arch, and that's what I was going to do this project on. I may do it again just for myself because I love that. I would hang this up at Halloween time. I really liked the design. And who knows, maybe I'll go over it with colored pencils or something, and then everything will be wonderful, and I will absolutely love it. But right now, that bloom's not making me happy. So anyhow, yeah, I was gonna use arch, and I didn't because I wanted to, because Pagos set is such an affordable set and would be a good starter set for someone. I wanted to use also a paper that would be not so expensive and easily accessible to people. But case in point, when you're looking at here, that bloom that's happening, I mean, I'll work with it and I'll just embrace the bloom and go for it. But sometimes our supplies can actually hinder our progress if they're not the best. So there's that. Wet the back of the paper, cellulose paper to slow drying time. Yes, and starving, that is something that normally, again, I normally do that. Like, I'll come in and I was running behind and I was just trying to make sure we started on time. But normally I will take the paper and I will soak the back of it, set it on my board, tape it down, and then when I paint, it buckles less as well. So I do that also. Great tip. It slows the drying time, and yes, it also keeps it flat. So Naomi, I have not done that before. It would be interesting to try. Yeah, I definitely recommend giving that a try, especially if you're using more inexpensive paper like this Canson. Yeah, you got me. I was totally thinking it too. I'm like, you haven't said anything in a moment. Like, you need to talk now. Talk now. That's funny. I was doing my best Joseph impression. Never tried pre-soaking or stretching. Definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend it. It will help a lot when you're actually working with the paper. Steven said, I think I need a piece of acrylic and stretch it onto that so I can use my light pad to transfer. Oh, that's a great idea. That's a really great idea, because then the acrylic would be clear, so you set that right on top of your light pad and go. Yeah, you could definitely do that. Or if you don't have transfer paper, the other thing you can do too is just take the printout of the hat or whatever you're working with, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is one I printed on both sides, I think, when I was testing it. But if you took your printout of your hat, flipped it over, set that on your light table, and then when the light's blowing through it, you're going to see that image just fine. Go over that with a soft lead pencil, then, or even a water base. You could even use like a water pencil or a water soluble graphite pencil, whatever. Then flip that back over, set it on, you know, your paper, and now trace it on this side, and you're going to transfer that image that way too. So you don't need transfer paper. You can do it without it. So Joseph said the chipboard is something I've been experimenting with for airbrush practice. I fill the airbrush with water, and as it gets darker, you practice, but dries quickly, allowing for repeated use. Oh, that's a great tip. I agree, Starving. Thank you, Stephen. I love wet and wet. I love wet on wet techniques for watercolor. I'm just, unfortunately, I knew I shouldn't have touched that, and I did, and I just look at the bloom that's happening there. I mean, in some things, I love to get that effect, but I just pushed the light out of where I wanted that dark to be there, and I just blew it out. But I'll fix it. Okay. Whoops. Oh my gosh, I can see that just jumped. Jamie, I love seeing people use watercolor. The loose, flowy, is right in a loose and flowy style. My problem is I hate when I see the water lines on my work, and I instinctively want to blend it. Yeah, I absolutely get that feeling as well. I know where you're coming from. I am still new to watercolor, so some people are probably watching this and being like, "Oh my god, that is going to make such a mess." But you know what? We just play and have fun with it. And you cannot paint without putting your hand in it. No, I definitely can't paint without putting my hand in it. Oh, that's a great thing to have too. An acrylic bridge. If anybody doesn't know what an acrylic bridge is, it would go over the top, so I can set my hand on the bridge, and now I'm not sticking it. I need to add one of those to my Christmas list because that would be great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thanks, Stephen. And I agree with you as well. It is a great group of people. Oh, if you've already gone, I'm sorry that I missed you, but thanks for coming by. All right. Oh my gosh. I think so. Naomi, that must have just happened. So, Naomi, if you're still here, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. All right, guys. So, that is all caught up. It's not completely dry, but I think it is dry enough that we can continue on. And I'm going to be working with the smaller brush, because there are a lot of little details in here. This is the number 1, so very fine. And now we're going to start to make some stuff happen on this guy. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I want this green. Yeah, I want that green. All right, again, I'm going to mix some of my colors up. I think I'm going to try to mix up a bunch of what I'm suspecting I'm going to use before I dive in. So I'm going to take this green here. And again, I wish I had those colors. This is kind of like a sap green. Very natural, earthy. And see, like that beating up just a little bit there. You see it pulling apart. But this well here did not beat up at all. And I'm mixing up colors ahead of time because I know I'm going to want, when I do my maple leaf, for example, and my oak leaf, I am going to want to drop some colors in wet on wet. And you're going to see me kind of bouncing around because I'm going to have to start with the maple leaf so I can drop colors in there. And then the oak leaf that's next to it, I'm going to have to wait and come back to that one. So I'm going to need to kind of skip around on here, if that makes sense, and get all of these. And I'm going to take a little bit of this guy and actually lighten this one up a little bit. Because some of the leaves that are the nightshade leaves, I'm going to need a few different greens. So I'm just going to kind of mix them all right here. Again, I probably won't mix enough paint, but hopefully I will. Grabbing a little bit of this brown, just because I really want to tone this one different. I want to darken that up even more. And grab the other one. The other one looks kind of like an umber. I am looking at this guy here. Oh, while I'm thinking of it, because I just looked at it. Show you guys that I love this Faber-Castell Waterwell. All those little ridges. It has ridges like a flower that go around the top and just hold your brush there. I like that too. If you see here, so there's that's pretty, I mean, I can see through it some. I don't know. Let me switch to this guy and see if you can see it better on here. So you see on that one there, that was the white over the Pigma. So it's still a little transparent. It is not completely opaque by any means. That is not going to be, it's no Dr. P.H. Martin's or anything like that. That stuff is great. All right. I was saying something else and I got distracted. I'm telling you. ADD. And I just ran that green into that green. So now we just got one big dark green and I'll just make up some more green. I'll use that color in quite a few parts, I think. Have a good rest of your day, Marty. Thanks for coming by. All right. That we're gonna need some reds, we're gonna need some oranges, so I'm gonna need some reds for the nightshade berries. Those will be red. I'm gonna drop some when I do, like I said, the maple leaves. Maybe I'll do one in November. Just so you guys, I love watching maple leaves or oak leaves when you see people do those wet and they just kind of drop in all the colors and they just kind of mix and make perfect fall leaves. And it's all done wet and wet. I love it. All right. And I'm going to want some orange. Okay. I think that should cover our colors. I think. And if not, you know, we'll just deal with it. Now I'm going to switch back to my number 1 because I'm really going to pay attention to the details, but I will check chat one more time before I do that. So Gypsy Heart said, acrylic bridge is so nice to have. I put off getting one, finally did. It helps with more than just watercolor. So nice to have. Being acrylic, it's clear so you can see under it. That's awesome. I need to look into that. Dylan asked, do you have a favorite medium? Right now, I'm playing with watercolor a lot, but that's because I'm new to watercolor, which clearly. But acrylic is my favorite so far. But I have so many new mediums to dive into, but right now, acrylic paint is my favorite medium so far. The red brown, this area, or this. Hello, Caution Artist at Play. Thanks for joining us. Okay, nope, not all caught up. I thought it was. Thank you. We're gonna fight the bloom here in a little while, but other than that, we're having fun. All right, so now I'm going to start over here with the maple leaf because I really want to be able to do that one. Again, this is going to be fighting that ferrule. It's so hard for me to see my paper and what's wet and what's not. And doing this, I have to make sure that I paint around the berries that are on there and the acorn that's on there. So as I do that, when I drop in my colors, I'm also going to be mindful that I have an acorn and I have a red berry. So I'm going to want on that part of the maple leaf. This is like, I missed a part of purple that should have been purple on the hat. That's all right. I'll come back and get it. So I'm going to be mindful of where I place my colors. Like I have a red berry that's going to be right here. So I'm going to put more of the oranges and the browns on that side of the leaf. And right now there's way too much water on my paper. So I'm just sucking up some of that water with my brush. And then I'm going to have my acorn, which will be, you know, browns. So near there, I'm dropping in some green for that part of the maple leaf. And the colors are just going to mix and blend, and it's going to look like they're just starting, you know, it's that just starting to change color. And actually, I think I'm going to take that right around the other side as well. Drop some more of that in over there. And then bring in a little bit more orange as it transitions from the green to the red. And I'm not going to go over those colors too much because I want them to just kind of mesh together, because I'm putting that orange near that green. If I mess with that too much, I'm going to muddy it up and I'm going to make it brown. But if I just sit here and drop that in gently, they'll just kind of do it on their own, and I'll get that. You can't really see. Yeah, that's with the water, it's glaring. So now that I have some color on that maple leaf, I'm going to move on. I'm going to put in a couple of the red berries that are out here. Our nightshade berries. I keep looking back at my reference. I need to put my original drawing back up here because it's a lot easier. Well, that's not wanting to focus for you guys, but where it's, there we go. So it's a lot easier to see some of my details in that. So if I get lost up here, I can find my way. So I'm going to put in my red berries. I love nightshade berries. The tops of them, on the very top, they have a star on the top where the stem goes into the berry. There's like a star, and the stems are actually like a purple when they're really ripe. Like right now, this time of the year, the stems coming off those berries are like purple, deep purple. I'm also going to paint the red berries that are over my oak leaf because I have to wait for my maple leaf to dry anyways before I can do my oak leaf. So I might as well also pop those in. It's hard. You got to really be mindful of what you're going to be working on next. I mean, what if I was just doing this, you know, not on the live stream, I would just kind of bounce around. And if I had to wait for something to dry, then I would just go do something else and come back. But I'm also going to paint my mushroom because my mushroom is in between my oak leaf over here. So I'm not going to be able to paint. Again, I have to wait for stuff to dry for that one. I might as well go to this one, so that it too will be done. I need to let, that's too much water on that paper. I need to let that soak in for a minute. And you can tell, like, when you're doing this, I just said I had to let it soak in. You know, there was too much. It was like really, really shiny. It wasn't like a matte glisten. It was like pooling water on that paper. Really lots of pooling water. Let's see what's going on over here. So Gypsy Heart said, I love watercolor. I love the little unexpected things that happen and the blooms. Something so magical watching the pigment move and flow. I agree. I just didn't want to bloom on my hat. So, and I knew the second I started to go there, I was like, don't put water there. And then I did it anyway. So D-Lynn said, at times I feel like I have ADD. I like all the mediums. Oh, I really do think I have ADD. I'm actually waiting to find out. Let's see. I agree. I actually really like the blooms in this. It gives it handmade character. Well, thank you. Gypsy Heart, that's a great idea. I have a cup of paper strips with all the various mediums I own in it. And sometimes I just kind of pull from the cup and work with what I get. That's fine. I also have way too many. Way too many. You are definitely not alone. It's the only way I can make sure I use all the supplies I have hoarded over the years. Oh, you guys saw my last art haul. This is definitely a hoard over here. Oh, I love mushrooms. They're like, definitely, I'd put mushrooms in everything. Will you record a video of your comparisons and your thoughts about them for us to see? My comparisons on what? I don't know if I missed something there. Are you, if you're talking to me? No, Starving Artist said to Gypsy Heart. So you're not talking to me. It's not for me. Keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm just trying to get caught up. Oh. Okay. Whoop. I was not trying to click that, but there you are. Oh, and so here's your answer for those of you that read the comment I shared. She's gonna do it. All right. You and me both, Tara. You and me both. I'm nearly buried alive in all the art supplies I have, trying to sort them out in my art space as I watch this, and it's just not possible. My day's coming. I have to get this studio clean, and that's still damp. So let's get this mushroom painted. As I then add water and make it too wet again. Okay. It's funny. I was drawing this out, and while I was drawing it out, I was like, I could follow along just fine. I was in the process of drawing. But then I started to go back and look at it, and I'm like, I couldn't even follow my own lines. I'm like, wait, where does that line go? Where does this line go? So I simplified some things and added in some extra things, took some stuff out, but it was fun. I had fun, and it would have been better if I had done it yesterday, but it took up some of my morning. I am just lifting out a little bit of this paint. It's a little too dark in some areas. And that's just a clean brush. I've taken most of the water out, and then I can just pull up where I want that highlight to be on my mushroom. And there we go. Now I'm just going to move down here. It might help if I wet that area first. And I'm going to work on one of my nightshade leaves. Oh, I missed a berry. There's actually a berry on this leaf. There's a berry that goes over the leaf. So I'm going to pause because that will bleed into that. I'll do this other nightshade leaf first. And then when I do my vines, I think I'm just going to do them like one at a time. Gypsy Heart asked, would you ever do a studio tour vlog video? Maybe take us along for the ride of reorganizing and share a before. Oh my gosh, nobody needs to see a before picture. It is chaos, but would I? Yeah, sure, why not? That would be fun to watch. I love watching studio tours. Yeah, I've thought about doing that. I have thought about doing a studio tour. I am looking forward to Shauna's new studio tour once she gets hers done. Caution Artist at Play, if you guys aren't familiar. I know she's getting her new studio put together. Yeah, once I get my... I've got to get this commission out of here. And once that is done, I would definitely do a studio tour. So I'm going to let that leaf dry because, and then I'm going to come back and lift color out because the nightshade leaves are actually, right now, when I was out there looking at them earlier today, they're the veining on them is lighter than like the leaf color. So it was like the veining was this bright, almost really bold green, and then, you know, the rest of the leaf got much darker as it went outward. That's actually a little too brown. There we go. Drop some more of that in. We'll let those play nice together for a while. All right. Now I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to make this one a little more green than that last one. I couldn't decide today. I knew once I had this drawing, I knew this was what I was going to do, but I had no idea what medium to do it in. I was like, if I would have painted this in acrylic, and I've done acrylic on paper before, if I would have painted this in acrylic, I probably would have been done. It would have been just like so much faster. Because we are, yeah, well, we might run late. Unless I suddenly really turn on the speed here and can get this done. As I do that, I'm just going to actually come through and match its vines. Once I get to here, where it goes out into the nightshade berries, that the branch that the berries are attached to, it actually turns from green to this like really, really deep violet color. So it's pretty interesting. And then that color is what is the becomes the star that's on the top of the berry is that purple color too. They're gorgeous. If you have not seen them, nightshade berries, they're actually really beautiful. Very dangerous, but really beautiful. I missed one that went over this way too. I just missed berries all over the place on this one. And although this is too small to get that, you know, starry detail, and apparently I missed another berry. That's right. I'll do the berry after. Just go with it. Just go with it. It's very hard. It was very hard to see because I was trying to be very light when I transferred the design onto the paper because I knew it was going to show through some of the colors, and I didn't want it to do that either. So now I'm just going to drop some of that green in on top so that as it kind of branches out to those berries, it'll just kind of blend. It'll blend on its own, do its own little thing. There we go. So I'm going with that. I'm just going to turn this because I've got to follow this vine. And this one, which is the bottom one. Can you guys still see that? I am not where you can see it. All right. Back where we were. I always have to check the ferrule of my brush because I am notorious. I am notorious for having a drop of water on my ferrule that then finds its way somewhere I don't want it on my painting. So that bottom one was the one that just kind of looped around, came up and terminated right there with those berries. Now I have another leaf right here. I'm actually just going to put this one in because if that bleeds a little into it, I don't mind. I don't mind that. And I'm just negatively painting the space around. I have an oak leaf that's right here. I'm just gonna drop. Again, I just want it to look like fall. So just dropping in a little bit of darker color, and I'll just kind of let that do its thing. Thanks. Joseph says, this is coming out so good. You're giving me ideas. Excellent. I'm glad. Glad I'm giving you ideas. I just wish it was coming along a little faster for us. I'm going to go, now that the maple leaf is done, I can get to this oak leaf as soon as, I can get to this oak leaf as soon as this mushroom and this vine, well, as soon as this mushroom finishes, I can get there. But right now I can get the acorn, so I'm going to put the acorn in. And so for the acorn, I want to really kind of thin down that color. I want a nice light wash of that brown. The acorn and then the acorn cap. And what I might do on the acorn cap, there's a few tricks that you can do if you've not done an acorn before. I can come in and paint the base with a nice light wash. And I'm just going to use the same, I think I'm just going to use the same, what I have on my brush. So it has this nice light wash. And now if I let that dry, I could then come back on top of that and work in, you actually, if you work in diagonal lines and you make little tiny squares and you just keep working those diagonal lines, it actually gives it that texture, gives it the appearance of the texture that the acorn caps actually have. Just a little tip. It's like working in little squares. It feels weird because you're just doing a bunch of like almost little squares, or just little brush taps, and you're working, spacing them out in those diagonal lines as you go. And but then when you back up, you're like, hey, darn, look at that. It actually looks like an acorn cap. I'm taking a little bit of this orange. I think I want a little yellow. This guy. Warm that up. I'm going to put a little bit of that through the center here on just the acorn itself, not the cap. But then on the edges, I'm going to drop in some darker and just let it do its thing. And then I should get that nice dark around the edge and yet still have an area that's lighter in the center to give me that kind of highlight and give it some shape. And I'll come back in again once this dries and I'll put a little bit more. I'm going to let it dry just a little bit. Not dry, completely dry, but just a little bit. And then I'll drop in some more of the dark and it won't move as much. So then I'll see if I can get it to do it. I don't know if it'll work. I'm just very carefully, this is where I go cross-eyed. So I'm great for everything, but when it gets to little tiny details near the end of the day, yeah, I can't see anything. So I'm just staggering those little dots. Giving my acorn cap some texture. And right now they look really dark. And if that is too dark, I'll just go over it with a wash that is just slightly darker than the original one I used. But I won't, I'll do just a quick wash, not very wet, just enough to get a little bit to tint over the whole thing. And then that'll make it look a lot more cohesive. So now coming back in with a little bit of the dark and just hitting it here and there on the edges, just trying to give more, add more form. I'm definitely going to darken it up right under the cap. I just wanted to define that edge a little bit more, but it was going to be way too dark. Okay, there's another berry that was on my maple leaf. I can get that one done. And I'm going to just hit the other ones that I had missed the first time. Now, if I didn't have that darn computer issue earlier, I would have I would have had my paint swatched out. We would still have plenty of time. So I'm probably running over. If you guys want me to, if you want to see me finish this, then I'm going to run. It's going to run late, which I don't mind, but I value your time. So I completely understand. I completely understand if you don't have the time to stay and stick around. So now I'm doing the other, this is another nightshade leaf. And these leaves, they get like really dark near the outside edges of them as they start to finish out their life cycle for the year. I guess that's the best way to put it. I'm just dropping in some of the brighter green in here. I definitely want them to have a, you know, different values. Okay, so Tara says, I have all night. I'm not going otherwhere. Otherwise, I'd procrastinate and not finish the space. I totally get that. Gypsy Heart says, I don't mind, but I love watching and starving. To answer your question, finish if only watercolor or go on next week and add colored pencil. So I was trying to finish it because, you know, it was Halloween, and of course Halloween Sunday, and I kind of didn't want to carry into November. But just finished watercolor today. I'm liking the look of this piece, and I really think I think it could benefit from, if not colored pencil, maybe some pastel pencils, which we know I've got my Carbocellos that came in, and my art haul that I got, and I'd even love to throw some pastel and maybe some pastel on top of this and do it that way. So I think that might really lend itself to like adding some of the texture and stuff in the hat. Of course, I could do that in colored pencil too, but yeah, I've really thought about putting some more on top of this. Will it be next week's stream? I don't know. I have to really give that some thought because I was kind of wanting to move on from, you know, the whole theme of Halloween. And now this one's hard because this oak leaf, he kind of tucks in and goes behind and under all of these vines. So yeah, that one's a hard one. I'm gonna have to just drop his color in there. Just let it do what it does. And I'm going to change that top, because it's right there near that brown mushroom. It won't be all brown there. I'm going to drop other colors in. Now I will say that I didn't touch these red berries. I mean, I say I didn't touch them. I did get close to them. And I can see some of that red leaching into the oak leaf, which I knew was possible. And I don't mind that though, because I'm going to have, you know, be having some of that color in there. Pastel pencils on top of watercolor. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking, because I have been I have been really, really looking forward to there are only two Gypsy Heart. I've been really looking forward to using them. There are only two holidays in my opinion, Halloween and Christmas. Everything else is meh. I love Halloween and I definitely also love Christmas. So now with this oak leaf, I'm just gonna drop in some colors and see what happens. See, everything's drying. All the paint on my palette is drying. Just rebrand it as an autumn hat for magical women. Yeah, I guess that's true, right? It's just it looks like it does kind of just look like a fall hat between the fall. And that was a thing, right? I didn't put like I chose to not. I didn't even choose. Wow, words right there are hard. Um, I did not choose to add like a spider, for example, when I was doing. All right, I said I was not going to put that. I need to get some green in here because I'm getting near that maple leaf and I want to keep these very distinct from each other. So I'm just going to really darken up the base of the oak leaf down here where it's going to interact with this maple leaf. And like right down in here, I should have got my hat. The purple should have come down in further. And honestly, though, if I'm going to come back on this with pastels or what have you, then do any of you that are here use pastel pencils? Have you used them? Am I going to be able to get a nice sharp point? Because that's the thing. Or do I need to pick one of my other colored pencils? Like coming back in with like polychromos or something. Because there's such tiny details in here. If I'm going to be going over this, I'm definitely going to need to get that. I'm going to need a sharp point. I don't know what the heck happened to my oak leaf here. He just got a little wonky, but that's okay. It's all right. He's living his best wonky life. And that is so true, Gypsy Heart. They are not. You never know where you'll find them. Okay, I think. Oh, I got my. I'm trying to follow. Like where else? I've got another oak leaf right here. I'm gonna put this guy in, and then I think it's just the vines and the spider web. The rest is purple that had to be filled in, that wasn't filled in, so that's going to be fun. That's really wet still. Let me give that a second. Yeah, so Joseph says just rebrand it and carry it over. So yeah, maybe we will. I mean, because then I don't have to think about what's going to happen next week, and this won't distract me from my commission because I know. Thank you. I'll also say finish if you're going to. Well, I'm going to finish the watercolor part, and that's all that I will do today, and so we're almost done there. Um, but then next week to come back and if I'm gonna come back over it with like colored pencils or something, I don't even know that I'm gonna mess with this bloom. So I'm just gonna embrace it and let it go. So Gypsy says yes and no, they're not super sharp. No, not without it breaking the tip. So see, that's right. Oh, or use the sandpaper. Yeah, I could. I've got the sandpaper sharpeners that I could use to like refine the point on the pastels. All right. That should be dry enough to keep going now. It was just so wet. I knew if I kept putting colors on there, it wasn't going to give me what I wanted. We don't have any oak trees where we are. I wish I had. I tried to grow one, and Lou would have planted it for me, but it didn't make it. I do not have the greenest of thumbs. I am not liking that at all. There we go. And I like that a whole lot better, so there. It was just too much of the color I had put down, and I'm just putting a little bit of brown back in the base here. And drop a little bit more. I want this dark brown. Because I know it will disperse. Okay, so I've got the other vines. And I think I'm going to do the one, this brown, the one that comes from, it's hiding inside, and that's why I'm going to use the brown, because it's so dark, and it kind of hides inside here. And then it comes down. It picks up over here. And if it touches my oak leaf I just did, I'm not upset by that. That's fine. It goes under that leaf. See, there's a lot more that needed purple over here. And that's all right. I think that was supposed to go under. That was supposed to go under that part. I'll just come back and hit the green over top of it again after. There we go. Now I've lost my own line. Oh yeah, it comes up through here. So the other thing, I was like, I really wanted this like feel of the nightshade vines and like grapevines like weaving and winding around the hat. But man, it is hard to follow what you planned out. I mean, if you were seeing, and that's another thing that I'll do too, I will have, once it's done, I'll update my thumbnail so that it actually has the picture of, you know, what the project looks like when it's finished. And of course I'll post it on, over at MeWe. And just like that, I lost it again. Oh yeah, it goes in underneath and you don't really see it till it comes out. That one goes, that is hard to follow, guys. That one goes up and this one comes out right here. Again, not seeing. Okay, so there's that one. The Carbothells are decent at holding some tip, but nothing for fine detail. Yeah, and see, like what I was just doing in there, it's going to be hard. I've got to really get into those tiny little spaces, and so I don't know. Maybe I should play with my polychromos. I don't know. So used to the paint bloom now, it just looks like a natural crease in the hat. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hating it. I was like, oh, it's gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen the second I wasn't gonna go in with the water or with the brush again and touch it, and I shouldn't have, but well, that's what you do. I wanted to try them. There's something saying you can't use the pastel pencils for the large areas and the polys for the super small details since it's already mixed media. True. That's also true. I'll have to figure out how the heck I'm gonna have all my polychromos. Of course, I'll pull a palette for that. I'll pull the pencils that I'm gonna use. But my Carbothello out of the way. I'll pull the palette. I'll just have to figure out where I'm gonna put everything. Okay. And I think since it's gonna be mixed media anyways, I might take my Pigma, my Micron pen, to do the spider web because I know that will not bleed if anything gets wet going forward, because who knows, like the Carbothellos, I know you can blend those with water. Who's to say I wouldn't want to try to do something like that? I don't know. Have you guys ever done that? Have you ever put water to them? I've never even used them, so that's gonna be fun. All right, so I just kind of blended that green with the darker green because I want to make sure that I'm having variation in all my vines so that as one crosses and goes under another, we can keep distinguishing them. So now I'm just going to grab this middle one and try to follow it. So this comes down, and now that's really close in color there, so yeah, it's going to be fun. Maybe I'll lighten it up right there. Actually, I would need to darken that up. Or I'll darken the... I'm just continuing on. I'll come back to it. It'll happen. It'll find its way. I keep looking up at my other drawing because I'm like, wait a minute. The top one comes behind, drops down. This guy. Like, there's the thing with the swirls in here. This thing that's happening, and... Alright, the top one makes that and loops. Did I just lose you guys? All of a sudden... my OBS is not in front of me anymore, and now it is. That was the weirdest thing. We're still good. I'm assuming we're still good. All of a sudden, my whole screen just disappeared. That was very weird. You said you had the Butcher's Tray palette. Lay a small tea towel in the bottom and use it to hold your pencils on the side, not taking up huge amount of the space. Yeah, I do have a butcher tray palette. I do. And then, but I also have a, I actually got it from the dollar store. If I do that, I'll show it to you guys next week. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Gypsy Heart. Tell her I said thank you. Oh, so Starving asks, is there any way to restart my Micron pen? Touched it over the top of a wet gel pen line and now it doesn't work. Any fixes? Oh. Thank you, Tara. Says I'm still good. I want to say I've heard Lindsay talk about exactly that before. You know, I would definitely say this is making me bonkers. I would definitely say to I want to say there is. I think you can soak the tip in a little bit of rubbing alcohol for. I want to say that's what she was talking about. Please don't. I mean, yeah, see, Steven just said that. Dip in isopropyl. I want to say that Lindsay, over there at Frugal Crafter, has talked about that before, and I think you can dip it in the alcohol and get it to work again. I I can follow this on. Oh, I know it goes to here, so I'm gonna trace it. I'm gonna go backwards because clearly trying to go the other way is not working for me. But I'm just seeing that one should be looping over another, and so it looks like I've missed something on one of them. Oh, I see. All right, I got it. It's this guy comes this way. It branches to, see, I had to go make it complicated. Not only does it go straight, it branches off and curls around. This is the one that curls, which is why it was throwing me off because I thought it curled, but this is the one that does the big loop and twist and turns, which I thought, oh, that'll be cool. That'll look great. Yeah, try to follow it when you're looking at the drawing. All right, so I just have one more, and I think I'm going to do that one so that it's more like woody. I'm going to try to do it in a lighter, take some of this brown and just thin that out a little bit. And maybe even bring in some of this guy. Oh yeah, I made that color dirty. Here we go. Why not? Why not? It's different. You guys can't see because I am blocking you. Oh, that's a good idea too, Joseph, if you can switch the nibs out on those. So they know I'm not supposed to still be live streaming at this time. And again, it made, I don't know why it's doing that every time that comes through. All right, so this last one follows right along, goes behind the mushroom, stays at the top behind these vines. Then it comes out over here and goes up, comes around. So what I'll do is I will, once I'm done with this part, I won't fill in the missing purple today. I'll let this really dry really well. And then I'll come back and reactivate some of this purple and I'll fill in the spaces. And then I'll go ahead, if that's what you guys want to see next week, I'll go ahead and continue this as our autumn hat. And then next week we'll continue. And so when I come back, I'll have the spaces filled in with the purple. And then that way there, we'll be ready to go. And oh, that should be a nice relaxing stream because I don't have to worry about mixing. Well, I mean, I'm going to blend and mix colors, I'm sure, but I won't have to worry about how I'm doing everything. It'll be there. I'm just going to be adding the, you know, all the details. But that'd be great because like some of these, oh, I didn't even put this, I didn't even put the stems of those berries. I have 3 rogue berries here that, 3 rogue berries that have no stem. All right, and that'll help, really help kind of weave those in and out more. As I'm looking at it now, like it was so much more busy in my drawing. My drawing was so much more busy than this. And I think part of my maple leaf was supposed to come back here, and I'm missing that little gap right here. There's like a little triangle that should have been maple leaf showing in there. But there we go. So we're going to fill this in, or I will fill this in off this, you know, this week off camera. And then when we come back next week, we'll go over this and it'll be some sort of pencil, whether it be the pastel pencils, the Stabilo, Carbothello pastel pencils, or polychromos, or how about light fast? I don't, yeah, they're magic berries. Yeah. No. Could be, okay. Hello, Boba Fett. Let's see. And just checking the last of the chat, make sure I haven't missed anything. And then, of course, yes. I'd answer my kids don't call if I was live streaming. Could be an emergency. So, guys, yeah, that's my son. Introducing you to my son. He's in the Marine Corps. He's out in California. So if it's an emergency, I can't help right away. All right. They are magic berries. Oh, thank you, Tara. So Tara says it turned out great. So thank you, Gypsy Heart. So that's what we're going to do. Next week, we will come back and we'll do that if that's what you guys want to see. I am more than happy to do that. And I'm excited. Oh, I didn't put the spider web in yet, but I'll do that. We'll do that next week. I won't add it off camera. I'll do that next week. So thank you all for joining. I know we ran late. It was, well, 24 minutes and we're not completely done, but I'm looking forward to finishing this piece next week. So we will pick up from here. The only thing I'm going to do off camera is fill in that the purple spaces in the background. That'll be it. And then we'll continue and pick this up next week and we will switch up the medium. It will either be, it'll be some kind of pencil. So I'm going to get that switched up. There we go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me see if you can, does that one show it better? That's probably a more accurate representation of that purple. That is definitely, what I'm seeing there is probably a lot more accurate. So yeah. Cracking me up. All right, well, thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you to Joseph, our moderator. If you are not checking out Joseph's channel, he's live streaming every Monday, same time as me, 3 o'clock. So I will see you over there next Monday. His link is in the description below. And yeah, what else? All the things. Oh, if you want to try this with the watercolor base and play with that, again, you can pick that up over on my Patreon. That PDF is available for free. The post will have the exact same thumbnail as this video does, so it'll be very easy for you to find it. Also, there are not that many posts there because my Patreon has just started. So yeah, check that out. Grab it. You could get caught up to this point, and we could do the color pencil part together next week. Other than that, I think that's all we got for today. So thanks for joining. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for staying to the end and keeping me company. And I will see you next time, and keep creating. Bye, guys.